Hello, today we are going to put a steering stabilizer on a Ducati S2R. This will be the same stabilizer for your Ducati S4R. This is a Toby. It's really nice. I'd say it's a high quality steering stabilizer, steering dampener arm. And it's pretty much a pain in the ass to install. And this video is going to show you what true friendship really is. So this is a buddy of mine's S2R. It's a 2005. I've spent a lot of time working on this bike, getting it up to par from whatever the previous owner did to it. So after getting exhaust on it, a few other things, my buddy decided he wanted a steering dampener, so the bike would feel a little bit more like his R1. So here we are putting the steering dampener on for him. Alright, to start with, we need to pull off one of these fork legs, the left fork leg. So I'm going to remove the calipers, I'm going to pull the axle out, remove the front wheel. I'm going to have to pull the front fender off, and then I will loosen the bolts that hold the left fork onto the triple trees. So right now I'm just loosening all the cinch bolts that hold the axle down, and I've already broken free the axle nut. This job really isn't that bad to install the steering stabilizer. However, it's very time consuming. I think I got this video down to a half hour, but you can rest assured it's going to take you an hour to install this if you use the method that I used. Again, I have all the tools and the ability. Time's the only thing that I normally lack, but it's pretty straightforward doing this. So once you got your wheel out of the way, then we're going to work on the little 8mm screws that hold the front fender on, and we're just going to pull those 4 screws out. There's 2 on each side, and then we'll set our front fender out of the way. That's going to be another video coming up. Fortunately, my buddy has listened to me, and he's decided to put a carbon fiber front fender on this bike. Once he gets done, this bike is just going to look amazing. Any black plastic body panel, body part will be carbon fiber. And I think the S2R and S4R they just look great once you spice them up with a lot of carbon fiber. So here we go. Last 2, we're going to drop these out, and then this fender is going to pull right out of the forks. Alright, so in my garage I have a loft overhead, and on one of the support beams I have a I-screw, and I use that to jack up bikes. So what I'm going to do is I have a ratchet tie down and a soft strap, and I'm just going to pull that ratchet tie down till it's tight, and then I'm going to ratchet the bike up in the air until it's the forks are no longer resting on the pit bull stand. So it's not like you have to go really high above the pit bull stand, just an inch. You see where it just dropped off right there. Now the bike is just hanging freely. So you could do this with an engine crane as well. Even if you have one of those nifty little pit bull front end stands, you could just slide it into the lower triple tree and jack the front end up. So I'm breaking free the screws which hold the fork into place. Make sure that when you're loosening that last fork bolt that you have your hand on the fork, or it will slide out, and the bottom of your fork will just go doink on the concrete. Not cool, especially if it's somebody else's bike. Not cool at all. So be careful with that. So we get those loose. You see it's loose right now. It's just kind of hanging there. So this is the clip that Toby gives you, and it's just a piece of billet aluminum, just a machined aluminum, and it slides down over the fork, and then when you tighten the bolt, it clamps down to your fork tube. So yeah, we had to take the whole front end off just to get that one little clamp on there, but that's alright. So let's snug down these, and then we're going to line up the fork tubes so they match up. So once we have our forks torqued back into place, we're going to take our pit bull stand and we're going to put it underneath the forks and just steady the bike. Get them lined up now the best that you can, and then just pop that ratchet strap free, and the bike will drop down onto the pit bull stand. Again, align these forks to sight the best that you can. You can also run the axle through the forks and make sure that they're aligned. It'll make that front wheel go in a lot easier. So what you just saw me do is I used blue Loctite to hold the front fender on. Blue Loctite, not red. Blue. If you use red, you're never getting that fender off again. So just a word to the wise. And you don't have to be a gorilla when you're tightening down these screws. Once the Loctite hardens, it'll hold these screws into place. The last thing you want to do is over tighten these screws and risk fracturing the plastic. That plastic's unforgiving. The vibration from the road, the vibration from the motorcycle. The last thing you want to do is damage the fender, because maybe you like the black plastic fender and you don't want to buy carbon fiber. So yeah, just take this moment and think about it, and think about how tight you're going to torque down this little tiny 8mm screw. Now that we've got that fender on, let's go ahead and put our front wheel on. The front wheel is going to go on, just like it's gone off and on any other time that you've worked on the bike. Anytime you remove that axle, it's a good idea to take your axle and wipe it clean and put fresh grease on it. The next guy who wrenches on your bike will greatly appreciate that. Those stupid spacers are kind of important, so don't forget that. Yeah, sometimes you need a rubber mallet to get that axle to go all the way through. Notice I am not pounding on it, I'm just lightly tapping it through. So once you get your axle through, go ahead and tighten down your axle. What I normally do is tighten it down until it starts spinning on the opposite side. That way I know that my two forks are aligned properly and the axles is snug inside the the forks where they should be. And then once I get it tightened down on this side, then I'm going to jump over to the other side and I will tighten down the pinch bolts. And if you do it this way, then you don't have to buy the tool there's like a special tool that fits inside the front axle that holds it in place and keeps it from spinning. But my toolbox is full enough without having to buy more tools, and Ducati tools are very expensive. So you decide if you're going to buy it or not, but this way works. So here you see me tightening down the pinch bolts. And now I've changed over to a torque wrench, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the proper torque onto this axle nut. So there we go. Now once we have our axle torqued, let's go ahead and put a proper torque on these pinch bolts. So when you're torquing these pinch bolts, it's a great idea to torque down one side till it clicks, torque down the other side till it clicks, and then go back and torque down the side you started on. Because sometimes when it pinches, it will loosen up the other bolt. Now we're going to jump on our caliper and put our caliper back on. Again, pretty straightforward. Alright, we're almost done getting our front end back together. Once we get these calipers torqued down, then we'll be ready to swing around to the left side and start mounting up that steering stabilizer. So now I'm working on mounting the bracket that holds the stabilizer to the frame. And I'm going to give you a heads up right now, this is wrong. So if you're doing this and watching the video at the same time, I have the bracket upside down in this part of the video. And the instructions aren't the best that come with the Toby steering stabilizer. They're okay. I mean, there's really not a lot. It's kind of a no-brainer. However, yeah, one little mistake like this can set you back 5-10 minutes later on. So go ahead and we need to have that that mounting hole at the top. So just an idea for you, do that now. I wanted to make sure this was in the video. That way I could point it out to you and throw alerts out. So now we're going to take the front of the steering stabilizer and we're going to mount it to the front fork tube. So this is where Mike figures out that he has the mounting hardware upside down. So now we're going to remove the bracket and flip it over so we can mount the steering stabilizer properly to this Ducati. All right, now we're putting all our hardware together and mounting it to the bike. And then we just need to tighten down that bracket to the trellis frame. So once we have that bracket mounted, we need to measure the distance from the little clamp that holds the stabilizer to the frame. And I don't have the instructions here, but I want to say it was like 90 millimeters, so 9 centimeters. So we want to measure that out and then move this bracket and then move the stabilizer to where it says it's supposed to be. At this point, we need to adjust the free play in the stabilizer. So we don't want the stabilizer to go all the way into the tube on either end. So we want to keep a little bit sticking out of each end. Right now, the back end is just about hitting. So I'm going to need to make an adjustment so that the back end sticks out a little bit farther. So I'm going to do that by pushing this bracket as far up into the corner of the trellis frame as I can possibly get it. If you have zip ties or any of those little rubber band Ducati straps that they mount the wires to the frame with, you may have to remove those or move those to a different location to get this to fit up in there. This bike has one zip tie, and the zip tie really wasn't stopping me. I was able to move this bracket up enough that I had about 8 to 10 millimeters off the back of the tube of free clearance. You just want to make sure that when you're steering, your handlebars are turned all the way to the right. The little black adjuster on the back of the steering arm, the steering stabilizer arm, isn't whacking the steering stabilizer tube. That could be a costly mistake if you did that. So once we have everything in place, go ahead and tighten all the screws down, and then check it to make sure that your steering is functioning properly and everything flows nice. So this install actually turned out pretty good. I took it out and rode it for about 12 miles around the neighborhood, and my 12 miles, let me put it to you this way. I'm in the mountains of North Carolina, and if I ride the 12 miles around the block, I get every kind of riding condition that you would ever dream of when you're on vacation. So this bike handled well. I absolutely love this S2R, and it's one of those bikes that might be on my list of bikes I want to own if I ever get tired of the monsters I already have. But that was my video, and I hope it was informative for you, and please watch some of my others.